You guys better come.
Welcome back to the Keep Going podcast, Vin Kennedy. I'm your host, Vin Kennedy. Today we have a special guest. This is Bill. Bill, you want to do a brief intro on yourself?
What's up, Vin? Good to see you. So my name is Bill Rogers. I live up in North Jersey. It's actually been about a year exactly since me and Vin kind of virtually met. So I ran the Jersey City Marathon last year, and then I've never done any of that before. So I went in the never been in the corral, none of that stuff. So hopped in the corral, saw the time. I was going for 3:30, and then I ended up next to Charlie. And then I'm like looking at him. I'm like, all right, look at this guy. I'm like, are you going for 3:30? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, let's do this, man. So ran the
Yeah.
whole race with Charlie. We literally finished step and step. I think I beat him by like an eighth of a second, which I'm happy about because like I can say I got one over on him. But yeah, ran the whole race with him, talking to him the whole time. And then he threw me in that NJ group chat thing. And then you just started sliding in my DMs.
Yeah.
You and Dan were about to run across the Grand Canyon, and I was out in Arizona looking at the Grand Canyon. So I just, started talking with you and just kind of hit it off. So come full circle now.
Yeah. Seriously. And then obviously we also both ran the Loopy Looper, which was an event.
Yep.
And yeah, there's been so much since then.
Speaking of which, I told you I had a surprise for you on this podcast now. I'm
Yes.
officially got everything entered in here. I'm
Oh, you
officially
did it.
registering for the Loopy Looper 2024. I'm coming
You're doing
back.
12 hour?
12 hour. Yeah, 12 hour.
Awesome.
Going for
All
60
right. So
miles, putting it out here now. I don't know if I'm going to
there you
get it.
go.
Got 52 last year,
That's
but
awesome.
I'm
John's gonna be
officially
excited.
submitting the order. I know you're doing it,
John
right? Who
is
else is doing it?
Yeah, we have a ton. And then Greg Gamble is gonna do the I think 100 miler. And this
Confirmation. I'm back in. I'm back in with the South Jersey guys.
John's gonna be thrilled.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. I think first where I would love to like touch on is Rebel Core. I know you obviously had a lot like going on as far as like time and just like putting a ton into place, and now it's kind of rolling and up and running, and I just would love to hear about it.
Yeah, so to kind of give somebody some context, what Rebel Core is. So me and my wife recently opened a modern Pilates studio. It's up in Roseland, New Jersey, and we have X-Former machines, crazy workout. I'm sure if you've seen modern Pilates, big thing now, or that SNL skit with Pilates. It's kind of like that, but not as funny. It's hard. It's a good workout. But we opened it up back in January, and things have been taking off. It's been going really well. I've been doing social media. My wife, Steph, you met her at the Loopy Looper. She's just a machine. Like she instructs, she teaches, she coaches, everything. So she really, wouldn't be possible without her. And everything's just been going great so far. It's great workouts. We're building a great community there, and it's just like a big adventure this year so far.
That's awesome, and that's like a startup on your end, right?
Yeah, yeah. So we got the idea about it, and then we started checking out different studios. We went to the city and tried some places, and then we came across these machines, really liked them, and then we thought about potentially doing a franchise. And then we started thinking about it, and I kind of have a creative mindset. I know to do photography, graphic design. It's kind of like one of my skill sets. And then Steph is just great at running a business. She's owned a gym in Verona for about 14 years now. They're about to hit their 15-year anniversary. So just running a business, especially in this industry, she's a machine at it. And then with my creative background, we figured we just did our own thing together. We could come up with something. So then came up with Rebel Core. That's the one logo. And the machines are called an X-Former. So it kind of fit. And just from there, we just keep getting ideas, keep thinking of stuff, keep building it. And just really want to, like showcase the brand. And like we're building a great community there. So it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah, you could tell, and not even to hype you up. I literally thought it was a franchise of like how just legitimate it seems. I'm
Yeah,
not even
thank you.
kidding.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And something I would love to touch on there is exactly like you said, the creativity aspect. Obviously, I do a lot of social media, but I just do it like for my own fun of it, and I don't take it too serious, and I'm not the creative. I'd just be curious to hear like your thoughts on social media and the way that you kind of do it yourself, because I think it's fucking awesome.
Thank you. So yeah, I haven't been as active on my page lately. So my Instagram page is call sign Bill. Me and my wife travel a lot. I try to do like race recaps. It's just, mostly photography, just having fun out there. But I haven't been as active on my page because I'm running Rebel Core social media. But it's fun because this is the stuff I love to do. I like to get and take pictures, especially like every day it's something different. We have different people coming in. So it's like different subjects I'm taking photos of, thinking of different ways to be creative. So it's been great so far. And honestly, I forgot even what the question was. Let's run that one back.
Yeah, no, just
Yeah.
like how do you kind of even like is there a system? Is there a process? Is it kind of like things just pop in your head? Like, how do you even formulate it? Because, like I said, like my stuff's very just like stuck getting thrown together, and I don't take any of it very seriously. And yours all looks legitimate and professional, and but
Thank you.
it's also has like your own spice on it. It's cool.
Yeah, so my page is more just like whatever's going on, that's kind of I'm posting there. With Rebel Core, I kind of have a content calendar I try to follow, and then I'll batch film some stuff. Like I posted a video the other day. We talk about like how you can do different moves, explaining the workout, things like that. So we try to edit or film those all in one day, so I have those ready to post. But then we also want it to be current and active. So depending on like what's going on, me having that background in photography and videography, I can pivot if I think of an idea. I can just go in there and make it. And it's been fun. That's the creative part. Like, did you see the video we made on Easter with the Easter bunny like on the machine doing the workout stuff? Like, thought of that like the day before. Like, I was on a run, that song came on, I was like, oh, like I should make like an Easter bunny video. And then I'm friends with a local coffee shop in town. The guy Dave has an Easter bunny outfit, so I reached out to Dave. He let me borrow it, and then went in, filmed it, edited it that night, and then posted it the next day for Easter. So some of it's like that, but then some is planned out. But if I get the idea, I have the like tools to make the idea happen if it's a good one. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And how have you seen like the growth? Because like obviously, like you said, your own page is kind of like throwing together whatever you're doing in the moment. But how have you seen the growth with like a structure and like kind of like a schedule on the Rebel Core page?
oh, you definitely see like a way better like interaction and everything, and like you see the growth happening, which is super cool. And I'm just more consistent with it too. And like with my page, like there's just having fun. Like I don't go crazy about it, but like this is something that's like our business, so like, I want to take it seriously. I'm staying consistent with it. I make sure we post something every day. I try to do a good mix of videos and pictures. I try to see what's working, what's not working, and then just pivot from there. And like get the stuff out there people want to see. I know people like learning. I want some of it to be entertaining. Like some of it's just to be goofy. Like I've been fighting with the Roomba. So that's like something I've been doing on Sundays there. So it's just try to cover all aspects of it and keep it entertaining and kind of educate people and then show them, what Rebel Core is all about.
Yeah, of course. And then I'd be curious, like just what you learned as an entrepreneur, because obviously you have a 9 to 5 outside of this, but now you've stepped into this other world. And I know you said your wife was kind of in this world, but I'd be curious, like personally, what have you learned?
Yeah. So biggest thing is time management. That's like the biggest learning curve. I mean, I guess I'm kind of a morning person now. If I sleep in now, I sleep until like 5:30 a.m. That used to never be the case. So time is just super, super precious. So I'm getting very conscious as far as that. That's why I try to be efficient with editing. I have presets saved so I can apply stuff. But it's just time is the biggest resource. That's what I'm learning with this whole thing. And I see Steph, she's been running her business and she's just so disciplined. So it's been helping me dial in with all that stuff too, because you only have so many hours and there's just something that's going to pop up. There's stuff you got to do. And like you said, like on top of that, I'm also working another full-time job. So I'm in here in the morning, go work all day, and then I get in there for the evening classes. And then at night I edit for a little bit and then wake up and just do it again. So we got to go to Aruba a few weeks ago. So it was nice for like a little break, but we've been going pretty much nonstop pretty much since January. So
No, absolutely. And what's something kind of like rewarding that you've been surprised about when owning a business?
I mean, probably the most rewarding part so far, I kind of mentioned it before, this community that we're building. I've experienced that in the running community. Like I met Charlie at that race, met you guys, I've ran with you guys. Also, the first time I ran with you guys, I almost passed out. It was my first time running down the shore, and it was like the first day of like running in the heat. And like I see you guys on Strava, Instagram, like I see like the crazy runs you're posting. I'm like, well, whatever. I'm like hyping myself up on the way. I'm like, it's flat, like I'm fine, I'll be good. I'm like, it's flat. Then I started running next to Bucket Hat G, and he's like running up, like running back, like running all over the place. So I was kind of like, oh shit. And then I was running with you for a bit, and like that was going well. And then we started coming back towards the end, and I just started getting dizzy. And then I kept looking at my watch, kept looking at my watch. I'm like, I got to make it to at least like half marathon. So I got to 13.1, and I just stopped. Greg kept going, and then at the end, I went to stand up. And the only reason I didn't pass out is because like the embarrassment, like I was like, I can't like fall on my face in front of these guys. I was like standing in the parking lot, like super woozy. But that's just a little backstory on that. But anyways, the running community. It's such a great community. So I'm trying to take stuff that I've learned from that. Like we've been doing certified rebel challenges. So each month we have a challenge. We award them with a medal. So it's kind of like a race medal. And like I see like how hard people work for these medals at the end of the races and just how much I love them and appreciate it. It's just cool to have like a memento. So I've taken that from like the racing world and the racing community. And then yeah, just everyone's just bringing friends in. Everyone knows each other, and Roseland's a really good area. So it's just like a lot of families. It's just great. Like the community that we see happening. It's just that's definitely the coolest part so far for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how did that even work out? Like as far as like location, was there like a lot of obviously like research going into that?
Yeah, definitely. Because we had certain parameters we had to hit. We need certain square footage. We needed a certain ceiling height. We wanted parking, like all these different boxes we had to check. And then we wanted to keep it. We live in Cedar Grove, so we wanted to keep it like somewhat close to home. You know what I mean? So Roseland's like 5 miles up the road. I run there sometimes. Um, But yeah, so we had to check all these boxes. Luckily, Steph has a real estate license, so she could look on the MLS and see like what stuff was happening, showing up. And then we would just go out and see stuff. And then like certain things didn't work, or like didn't have the parking, or like one place was really good, but it wasn't zoned to have that type of business there, so that didn't work. And then we came across this one. We just kind of like immediately knew it. Like it had the parking, it had the ceiling height we needed, square footage was good. It actually used to be a law office. So you could see like kind of their conference room. We had to take that wall out. They almost had like a library in there. So we kind of even repurposed some of the stuff. That's where we put our shoes when you walk in and stuff. So we didn't have to do too much work, and it fit the space, and just it all worked, came together.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'd be curious, like obviously you said it opened up in January, correct?
Yeah.
I'd be curious, like, is there a next step, or you kind of just really focus on building the current location? Like, what's the like the if there is like a master plan kind of with Rebel Core?
Yeah, so I mean the plan just grows as we do. So definitely the main focus right now is this main location. We've only been open a couple months. Like thankfully it's going really good. But we just got to keep, the gas on the pedal, keep working on that. But down the road, we would like to maybe open another one. And then another thing have coming up, we're gonna do an instructor training. So this is gonna be our first time training the instructors. When we originally did it, we flew out a master trainer from California, and we spent the weekend with him, and he trained everybody. So this time we're going to start training ourselves to see if it's something that we can successfully do, and like make sure that we can kind of replicate this. And then that'll kind of dictate like what the next step like might be. But the first step is kind of just making sure that this is something that we could replicate if that's something that we want to do.
Absolutely. And you spoke to community, and I'd be curious because it seems like you guys have a lot of trainers over there as well. Like, how does the onboarding process go with the trainers, and how does that community also affect the overall community?
Yeah, so a lot of the people that came in here already had a fitness background. Some of them are personal trainers, some of them are they're a physical therapists. So it's all people that have good like knowledge of the body. They've been taking Pilates in the past, or modern Pilates, different forms of it. So we made sure people were experienced in like the actual like method of the workout. And then as far as the training, like I said, we flew out the master trainer from California, and just by chance, like this whole community, like just like there's a running community, there's a whole community in like Pilates, modern Pilates, all that. So we would watch his videos online and like get like study like different moves, like learn stuff from him. And then we just decided like let's like reach out to him, see if he's interested in training. And it was actually something he was looking to do. He hasn't been out to New Jersey yet, so he wanted to come out here, see New York City, and do our training and everything. It was great. And we're actually going to have him coming back at the end of next month. We're going to do a level 2 training with him, and then we're also going to have Jonathan come in and teach some like guest classes. So he's like next level. He's like the last Dan standing of Pilates.
That's awesome. And you just found him from like online?
Yeah, Instagram. Oh, we first came across him on YouTube, and he has these great instructional videos giving you breakdowns of different like the machines, different exercises, how you can transition from this to this, how he counts the exercises, all this great info. But like the videos didn't have like many views. They had like 50 views, like like 75 views, but like he had like hundreds of videos. So like the amount of time this guy's putting into it, like I can't believe more people aren't watching it. And then we found his Instagram. He has a way bigger following on Instagram. So I think that's what it is. He's more on the Instagram end of it. And he still uploads to YouTube as well. So then on Instagram, we started watching more of the stuff, and that's where we reached out to him and connected. And from there, we built just a great relationship. And he did an amazing job training everybody. And people that have come taking a class, like you can see how good the instructors are. And he was the guy that really like set that foundation for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And just something to note too is, and speaking of that community, is like James Ambrose went over there and even took his mom. I
Yeah.
had James on a couple weeks ago, and like that stuff to me is just the coolest thing. And like you said, it's the community, it's the connections that like you just would never think would lead to other things, and it's just everybody's searching for it.
Yeah, and then again, community. I met James through running. He would run with JD over there. I think he ran with you guys too. I don't remember where I met him for the
Hmm.
first time, but I met him through running. And then, I was talking to him on Instagram. I got to come in for a workout, and like James, like goes all in. What do you? He for a month he ran like 11.7 miles every day or something to do with his fraternity. But like when he's into something, like he's in. So when he was there, he crushed the workout. And like one of the things that happens, you're using kind of like slow twitch muscles, so you start to shake because like you're trying to control. It's very slow movements. His whole body was like looked like he was being like electrocuted. He came in there and he killed it. So yeah, James did awesome. Love James, good guy.
That's awesome. Yeah, actually, I went to high school with James. That's actually how like he got intermingled somehow, and then he just happens to be up in Hoboken. So it was just really funny.
Oh yeah, I never knew that. It's awesome. You
Yeah,
got to come in
and
for the workout next. We'll get James back. You guys can have a
absolutely.
like a
Yeah, I
duel.
mean, I'm full Ironman training, and I need my Achilles to get healthy, and then I'm definitely game.
Yeah, say how's that feeling? So I know we've kind of talked about it like offline. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's just one of those things. It's like it's fickle, so like I have to be like careful with it. And obviously I know, the way that I run, and it's
Yeah.
very like, oh, I feel good, I'll do 30. And it's just
Yeah.
like, you can't, it's like flare back up and create problems. So luckily been able to bike and swim a lot, and it's been helping.
All right, cool. Yeah. And then, I mean, that's part of the aspect of it too, right? You got to do all three things.
Yeah.
So it's kind
Yeah,
of probably
exactly.
helping you focus. I would imagine running is your strongest, like probably like, event there. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a big help. But I would love to hear just kind of like overall, like what the workout at Rebel Core like consists of. Like if you could just run us through a class.
yeah, so a quick overview. It's a 45-minute class. We have 11 machines in the main studio. We also do private events too. When we do a private event, we usually have 10 machines, and then the instructor will be on the center one. So we have options for both. But 45-minute workout, and then the instructor is going to guide you through the workout. So when you're looking at the machine, there's a front platform and a back platform. These two parts of the machine don't move. The thing in the middle, that's called the carriage. That's what moves. It has springs under it, so you adjust the springs for different resistance and makes it harder, easier, depending like what you're looking to do. And they're going to walk you through the workout and kind of tell you exactly what to do. So there's lines on the machine, so they'll tell you like put your left foot on the first white line. We're going to do a lunge here, and then they'll count it through, and then you do a full body workout. I personally think it kills your legs and your core the most, especially like your inner thighs or like even like your calves. It's like you get these like weird muscles that you don't really use that much because I lift, I do squats, like all that type of stuff at Steph's gym, but this is just a completely different workout. So I've been working into my routine now. I would say like lately my running's been slacking because we've been so busy, but I've been staying consistent with the lifting and then also the modern Pilates. I'm doing it like 2 to 3 times a week. Another good thing with it too, it gets your heart rate up. So you get like that anaerobic effect. It's not just you're not running, but it's all low impact, but you still get the heart rate going. So it's similar to like a HIIT workout if you track it from a fitness tracker.
Awesome. Yeah. And then it even seems like just like it would, obviously you said strengthens your core, and then areas in your legs that you wouldn't even think of, which is perfect for running because a lot of these injuries stem from people not bracing their core. And then same with like just these leg injuries that, you have weak glutes, and it kind of leads to all these other issues.
Yeah. And then I mean you've met Claudia before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Claudia is one of our instructors. Like you've seen like how like jacked Claudia is. She's got
Yeah.
like shoulders, like biceps. Claudia's jacked. She got big legs. She's jacked. She doesn't lift any weights. All she does is modern Pilates and run. That's it.
Oh
And then
wow.
that kind of blew my mind because like I've known Claudia before she even instructed. And I just always assumed that she was lifting. And then like she started instructing. I was like, when do you like lift? Because like I'd see her here and I see her running. And then I found out she didn't, which is nuts. And then she just completed the Jersey City Marathon first time.
As well. And yeah, yeah, she's a savage. Um, but yeah, and I'd be curious to kind of switch gears here and just go back to running a little bit, and
Yeah.
where you're at with running, and kind of like what running's brought to you.
Yeah, well, I just signed up for the Loopy Looper again, so
Yep,
excited for that. We'll get the tent, everything set up again. But
absolutely.
yeah, so I'm fairly new in the grand scheme to running. I ran my first marathon was Jersey City last year. Thought it was cool. It was the first marathon they ever had. It was like something I was kind of thinking about, so I signed up for it, and I was like, all right, like don't overthink it, just sign up. And then I didn't follow really any training plan. I just kind of built up my mileage, and then I was aiming for 3:30, so I just tried to get in the habit of running around like an 8-minute pace. It worked out. I don't know what I'm doing, but that was my first like big race. And then from that, I did the Loopy Looper at you guys. Did a couple trail races, like a half marathon. I don't know if you've ever done any of the Sasquatch events, but they do a lot of
Mhm.
trail races, especially up here, and they do a great job with them. So I've done a few of their things, and just kind of kept like growing from there. I got into it from traveling, so you can see some of the pictures behind me here. Me and my wife like to travel, so we go to Lake Placid, we go to Yosemite, different national parks. Like we'll stay here, we'll go out west, whatever we can do. So the more we got into that, especially going into Yosemite, some of the best hiking in the world. So to prepare for it, I'm like, I need to get kind of like my legs stronger. I need like more of a cardio. Like I want to enjoy the hikes, like take photos, like have fun. So that's what kind of got me into running initially. I was training for or getting in shape for that. And then I just kind of like started like in the process of it. And then from there, I signed up for a trail race and then had something to train towards. And then after that, so I did the full marathon.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that was actually gonna be my next question. Is like, who are you outside of Rebel Core and outside of fitness? And I know the big one for you is traveling. But yeah, if you kind of want to just touch more on your traveling and places you guys have been.
Yeah. So, quick backstory on this. So, me and Steph met 4 years ago. We just got married this past July on one of our trips. We went to a Banff National Park up in Canada. It's like the Rocky Mountains, but on the Canadian side of the border. And then we knew we wanted to elope like when we got married. So going into that trip, I was actually going to propose when we got there. And then like hints she was kind of dropping was like, oh, I don't really want to get engaged like on a mountaintop. And we went on a group trip. She's like, I don't want a bunch of people around. So like I'm like, all right, like maybe it's like not the best idea to propose there. So I proposed right before we went, and I figured we can go there and we can kind of celebrate. Um, so I proposed right before we went, and then literally the night before we left, we're like, "What if we try to get married when we're there?" So I found a photographer, worked on that end of stuff. The next day, Steph went to a David's bridal, found a dress, and just everything lined up. We were able to get an officiant for the last day of the trip. The photographers were available. Steph found a dress, and then the only thing we had to do was get a marriage license in Canada. So we figured it out like once we got there, but like everything worked perfectly. It was the best weather we had the whole trip. But yeah, so like obviously that was like our best trip. But then we've also been to Alaska, Yosemite, Acadia National Park. We go to like Lake Placid, even just like Ithaca, New York school. We try to do like little weekend trips if we can, and then two might maybe like bigger trips a year. And mostly it's like national park stuff. So Sedona is not a national park, but it like easily could be. So we went out there, and that's when I was talking to you when you were going to the Grand Canyon like the next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'd be curious, like, were you always into traveling, or is that something that you guys kind of cultivated together?
No, it's something we cultivated together. And like oddly enough, my mom, she's retired now, but she's a flight attendant. So like growing up, my mom was always flying. My grandpa was a pilot for TWA. She was a flight attendant for TWA until she went to American Airlines. So she's been like everywhere. My mom's got a story for everything. But like growing up, never really traveled. Like, like went to like Florida, like, stuff like that, like regular trips. And then like in college, I'd go see my friends like down at Clemson or like whatever, but like not like really traveling. And then yeah, me and Steph met right before COVID happened. So like I remember we were at a Post Malone concert, like talking about like, oh, you hear what's going on? It's like crazy. And then like right after that, like all the concerts were shut down, like everything. Um, so uh with that, sorry, what was that? I don't even remember what I was saying. Lost my track again.
You're just going into like traveling and
Oh, traveling. Yeah. So COVID happened, and then the whole time we were hanging out the whole time, and then they're like, as soon as this thing's over, like we got to go somewhere. So we figured like we wanted to go to a national park. Neither of us had been to one before, so we wanted to pick Colorado. Like we started researching it. There's so many different things you can do, and we went out there, stayed in Denver or like right outside of it, and then checked out like the Rocky Mountains. Went to Garden of the Gods. Went to Colorado Springs. Went to like Boulder. Like checked out all these different areas and just fell in love with just traveling and like seeing different places, especially seeing mountains like that. Like we just got like hooked on it. So then we got back from that trip and started thinking about like, all right, where's another trip we can do? And then from there, it just kept growing. And then our two good friends, Nick and Carrie, they convinced us to go camping with them one day. Neither of us had been camping, and then we're like, whatever, like we'll go. It was like kind of new in the relationship, so like it was one of those things. Like I don't think either of us really wanted to go, but nobody wanted to be like the downer. So like
Mhm.
we went, and then we ended up loving it. Like had the best time. We just camped on the Delaware River, and then from that, that's what like got us more into the parks. Where like we're camping in the parks now, like sleeping in tents. Like we camped in two different national parks in Alaska. We slept in Yosemite Valley. Like we've done cool stuff like that. So I mean, it's like it makes the experience just even like more rewarding because you're literally like in it. Like I mean, you know what it's like being in the Grand Canyon. Like you're in there. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's funny, and I was kind of the same way. And like, even still, like, I'm not a hiker. Like, I really don't like hikes. But if you tell me to like go run through like a national park or like run from LA to Vegas, like those are the coolest experiences in my life. But hiking, just like, I guess the how slow it is personally right now is just not something I'm cut out for. But
Yeah.
even if you asked me when I was younger, like, oh, you're gonna love running through like the Grand Canyon and stuff like that, I would be like, yeah, there's just no way. So I think it's funny that like as we get older though, we do appreciate those kind of moments more.
Oh yeah, especially some of these places like you see in the Grand Canyon. It's like you see pictures of it, but when you like actually see it, it's like mind blowing. It's like oh my god. And then actually I want to ask about that though. I forgot about the whole rut speed project it was called, right?
Yeah.
How did that go? Like it looked awesome. I was following you guys along. I saw the sunrises, sunsets, all that stuff. But like I mean, just what was that like? Like how was it?
I was absolutely incredible. And it's funny. I mean, obviously, warning your schedule. Me and Dan are probably gonna do it solo next year. So it's the solo route's like 280 or 290 miles.
Okay.
Um, if you want to come out crew and do some content, I think you would
Yeah.
love it.
I wanted to come out this year, but then everything just like took
Yeah,
off
bro.
with the
Cool. Yeah,
gym. Yeah. Like I was planning on coming with all you guys. And then like I know you got the RV and everything. I was like ready to go, but then everything took off with this. Like it's like literally like I was saying, like time is like the most like precious thing now. It's like absolutely time.
sure. Yeah, and yeah, I think honestly, like that's the timepiece kind of hits the whole TSP experience as a whole as well. Like it was just like so surreal and like you were just like you're so in it. You know those races. Like when things hurt, you have no choice but to be present. And
Yeah.
I think like I was just in pain with my Achilles, and then obviously just like being where I was, it was really special. There's no way around it.
How many miles did you end up running total? Like you personally?
Me personally, I did like 52 or 54. I like had in mind 5 more miles to go for sure, and my Achilles just like was not having it.
But didn't you also do it at like a 750 pace or something?
Yeah, I think I held for the first 49, I held like a 7:04.
Like I thought it was
Yeah.
704 is even crazier. That's insane.
Well, it's so funny though, and like that's like my favorite thing about all of this stuff too, is that like, yeah, that like even for me, like hearing that, I was like, oh shit, I didn't know I did that. But then our buddy Greg Jerez, who I know you know Greg,
Yeah,
he held like a 6:40 for like 54 miles.
yeah. Like
Like
I
it's
believe it though.
it's crazy, but it's so cool to see like what people could do, and then you can't even compare because everybody's on like just completely different worlds. But it's so cool to have like someone like that in the circle, and then same with like Dan at his 100 coming up, probably gonna like place top three, and it's like just being around that, it just makes you better.
Yeah, so I ran that 50K at South Mountain. That was a Sasquatch event. I ran that
Yeah,
with Dan. I think he lapped me like twice. He took third place. But it's like that's one of the things I like about running. Like I don't like researching or anything, but like I like when you see like people's times and they post them and it
yeah,
just blows your mind like when you see like somebody running like a 550 like pace or like whatever it is, or when you hear these like crazy marathon times, like you know exactly like how to relate to it because like you know what your times are, like you've done races. I love that part of it. Like you can see what like people can do, and it's always just mind blowing. I mean, like when you did the 100 last year, like that was crazy. I did 12 miles. I wanted to like jump in that whatever like Cooper River, and then you still had another 12 hours to go. Like did you like go into shock or something? Like crazy,
yeah. I just went through it, but yeah, and
and you
and
still
it's true.
finished it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
Greg's gonna do it and crush my time this year. But yeah, and then even that 50K, somebody in the NJ run group won that 50K, Luke, and he smoked it. He came in first overall in that 50K that you guys were in. And
Yeah,
see, that's the coolest part too, is that we're all in that same group. Dan came in third, that kid came in first,
yeah,
and then there was just a bunch of people in the race that were in the same group.
yeah. It's cool like seeing that stuff, and it's like I don't know. It's just like yeah, like it blows your mind. Like when you see like what people can do and like how far they can push themselves. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And I'd be curious, like, do you see any parallels between being an entrepreneur and the running space, or just your running journey in general?
Well, like I was saying, like I like that whole like community aspect of it. But you definitely like, especially something like the loopy looper, like you need like a game plan like going into it. Like you have to prepare for it. You have to like kind of strategize like in the moment. You have to adapt. I mean, that's definitely stuff we do at Rebel Core. You know, we had to like find the space. We had to like the lead time on like ordering the machines. This is all stuff that like was like the prep phase. And it's like now we're like essentially like in the race phase. Like we're going. Like it's up, schedule's up, classes are busy. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you can look at it like that way, like in comparable, like especially like these like longer races, like you just have to take the steps to get to like where you want to get. It's just different, steps that you're taking to get there. More physical, where this is, the whole business side of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the one down but upside with the business end of it is that like there's no actual finish line.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I love it though. Like I love being there. Like the members are great. Like we lucked out. Like we have great instructors. So like it's just like you'll see when you come. It's just like a very good like not to sound corny, but it's like a good vibe in there. Like that's what like
Yeah.
everyone says. They're like oh my god, like I love like the vibe in here. But it's just there's like a good energy there. It's been that from the start, and like we're super happy about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you could tell just from the social media and how much you guys care and like put into it. And I think that's like it's just special, and it's creates great environments, like you're saying. And the last question that I ask everybody is what keeps you going?
Keeps me going. So, I mean, one thing I use to keep me going in certain situations, like I don't really like posting all that stuff on social media, but like sometimes, like me booking this race now, I'm just doing that to hold myself accountable. So, like, I'll kind of try to throw stuff out there to like force me to keep going. And then also too, like as you get into like running or like whatever it is, the more you start to evolve, like you see what you're capable of, and then you keep pushing it, you keep pushing it. So, like you were just saying, like the business, like there's no finish line for that. With this stuff, like whatever you're aiming for, there is really no finish line. You can just keep growing, and then even if you have to change a little bit, like your Achilles is messed up, so now you're going to focus on like the bike and swimming, so you have like a new avenue to keep excelling and just you know stuff like that. I like seeing what you're capable of and then seeing what you can do next, and it's just motivating looking back. And like people talk about like when you look back in your life, you don't want it to be like boring if it was like a book or whatever. Like I think about like stuff like that, like you want to have some good experiences in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely feel that. And I wonder if subconsciously, like the confidence and kind of like seeing what your body was capable of in running pushed you to also jump into the entrepreneurial space.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's just stuff I learned from that. And then again, like going back to the loopy looper, I just thought that was such a great race. Like I've never done something like that. So I think about it all the time. But like there's been multiple times where I'm like, all right, like I was able to like do that race. Like I can figure this out or I can do this. And like you know more so it's a great way to test yourself and see like really what you are capable of. And there's just so many great events like that. And then when you get there, the whole community supportive, meet great people like you guys. You know, I can't keep up with you guys, but this year I'm gonna do a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I really appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me on.